This is Yes We Canada, a commercial and sponsor-free independent podcast that depends on your support with a subscription for as little as $3 a month by going to yeswecanada.com/buzzsprout.com and hit the donate button. You can cancel anytime you want. Okay, let's Yes We Canada and chill.
This is the Yes We Canada podcast, the progressive's guide to getting the fuck out.
Hey, I'm Matt Zimbel in Montreal. This episode was recorded on April 20th, 2025. It's called Where's Justin? Okay, my American exceptionalists, we're in the final days of an election campaign up here in Canada, Stan, and I know you hate thinking about other countries, but we know you've been thinking about us lately. We know you've been a little Canada curious. Come on, admit it. You've been coveting our sanity, our calm, our universal health care. You've been sizing us up, quietly wondering, what kind of Canadian would I be? Eh? That's cool. An exceptionalist can dream, right? Absolutely. I just want your dreams informed, enlightened, and intellectually grounded in real shit. So today I'm going to tell you the story of how we came to have a springtime election. It's not what you think. I'm going to give you the lowdown, the electoral brief, as it were, and it's going to be brief, the backstory, which is going to be quick and efficient, so you can do what you do best and keep thinking mostly about yourselves. At the end of the pod, I promise you this. At your next cocktail party, you're going to sound incredibly smart and worldly.
Damn, Festus, if Jugmeat loses the BC Lower Mainland, that's it for official party status in the Commons for the NDP. He may even lose his own seat. Hold my beer, son, bitch.
Okay, let's get this over with. In Canada, we don't have fixed elections like you do in the U.S. Oh, hang on a second. That's kind of a touchy way to phrase it. By fixed, I don't mean stolen. I'm referring to the length of the term. The Prime Minister must call an election at least once every 5 years, but they can and often do call elections earlier. Let's say the PM feels that storm clouds are gathering on the horizon and they sense that the country is vibing them in a positive light at the moment, but may not be for long. They'll often call an election early to secure and maybe even to grow their government size. Because in the parliamentary system, size matters. Former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called an election in 2021, just 2 years after being elected in 2019. He said he needed a fresh mandate after the COVID crisis. Cute, huh? Well, a Canadian election ain't cheap. In fact, they'll run you about $600 million. So what did Justin get for his $600 million? He lost the popular vote and formed a minority government with only 5 more seats than he'd held before the election. 5 seats more. Damn, that's some expensive furniture. $120 million a seat. Woo! Trudeau also got the lowest popular vote ever for the party that would form the government. Ouch. But let's zoom out for a second. There are 338 seats in our House of Commons, aka Parliament, which is kind of like your Congress, but, not really. In Canada, we have a parliamentary democracy, which unfortunately your right wing often mistakenly gets wrong.
Canada is a socialistical state run as a paramilitary democracy.
No. So close, though.
When will we put an end to this wacko policy by this wacko Prime Minister?
No.
Yep, that's our parliament functioning as it should. Now, unlike y'all, we have more than 2 parties in our House of Commons, and I'm going to break it down for you in a subsequent episode. But before I do, a lot of you have been asking me, how come that handsome Trudeau fella isn't running again? Good question. As I've said many times on the pod, Canadians love to follow but hate to be led. So after almost 10 years in power, Canadians got right sick of our handsome Prime Minister with the girly boy socks. Justin was losing by-elections all over the country. No, a by-election is not a contest where all the candidates are bi. It's an election in a district to replace an MP outside of the cycle of a national election. In the States, you call them special elections. Well, our handsome fella was losing ridings that his party, the Liberals, have held for centuries.
Reaction today from party leaders following last night's by-election result. The Liberals lost a riding that has historically been a party stronghold.
We begin with Liberal reaction to the by-election loss last night.
This was obviously not the result we wanted, but I want to be clear that I hear people's concerns and frustrations.
There's a message that our voters would like to send to Mr. Trudeau, and that's one of change.
Prime Minister is committed to leading us into the next election, and he has our support.
The electorate was not happy, which created a caucus that was not happy because they thought they were about to lose the best job they ever had, just because of Justin. Calls started coming in for him to resign. But he's not the kind of dude to walk away from a fight. You might remember this.
In the blue corner, the Senator, Monsieur Patrick Brazeau, a.k.a. Braz Knuckles. Staring him down in the red corner, please welcome, once again, the pugilist from Papineau, a man who needs no introduction, Justin Trudeau.
Yep, that was Trudeau as an MP before he became Prime Minister in a charity boxing match, beating the crap out of Conservative Senator Patrick Brazeau. You're not going to believe this, but it is true. Trudeau and Senator Brazeau both formerly held jobs as nightclub bouncers. Who knew that bouncing could lead to legislating? Okay, so last fall, 2024, after 10 years in power, Trudeau is polling terribly. He's losing the by-elections. His caucus is in open revolt, but he's not budging because, as aforementioned, he relishes a good fight, and he profoundly believes that Canadians will support the most leftist government they have ever had if he could only explain his brilliance better to them in the context of a national election campaign. But the knives are out. Signed lists of MPs in Trudeau's caucus who want him to resign are starting to circulate. The Oust the Trudeau movement has the big mo. The media's in the emergency, will he stay or will he go mode? And then, in a desperate attempt to stay in power, the PMO, Prime Minister's office, makes a tremendous and ultimately fatal mistake. A mistake so disastrous, so tone-deaf, it deserves some of its very own production value. And then this happened.
The breaking news has just come via a statement from Finance Minister, Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, that she, in fact, is no longer going to be Finance Minister and indeed is resigning from the cabinet.
Well, Lord Thunder Jesus, boys, did you ever see such a thing? Now, if you're one of those legion of folks who love a good dysfunctional human resources story, don't touch that dial. We got you. Okay. So, it's December 2025. Deputy Prime Minister, kind of like our VP without the house and the motorcade, who's also the Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, is diligently working on her fiscal update for 2025. Now, a fiscal update's kind of like it's like a mini budget. It's the one where the government usually tells us that, oops, we spent more than we thought we would, but eventually everything will be fine. The Parliamentary Budget Office calls the update light fictional reading, and then we all go back to living our lives. Now, I shouldn't denigrate a good fiscal update. I'm sorry. A fiscal update is a big deal. It has all the pomp and circumstance of a budget. There's an embargo that takes place in a lockup where the journalists surrender all their phones and their internet-compatible devices. The journos are corralled into a locked convention center, in this case it's Ottawa's Old City Hall, where they can read the fiscal update document before it's released so they can explain it all to us civilians at 4 o'clock Eastern after the markets close. Now, this is going to come as a surprise, but a fiscal update's fun. I mean, I've been there. There's even catering in the embargo. Well, on a Friday in late December, Minister Freeland is putting the final touches on her update before it goes to the top secret printers. And she receives a call from the PMO, the Prime Minister's office, telling her that on Monday, after delivering her fiscal update, she would be shuffled into a new cabinet post. Ooh, rumors were that the former governor of the Bank of Canada, Mark Carney, would replace her as finance minister, even though he did not have a seat in Parliament.
First, the Prime Minister tried to fire her in the newspaper, and now she's being shoved aside for carbon tax Carney, a man focused on his own profits and his own corporate interests, who was brought in to serve as the de facto finance minister. She's lost her job responsibilities. She's lost her credibility. How long will the phantom finance minister endure this humiliation?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Going anywhere.
You see, the PMO was thinking that a fresh, new, spiffy look to the cabinet would reverse public opinion and help them win an election. I mean, there was also chattering that the PMO was not fond of Freeland's public speaking style, which can best be described as a fourth-grade teacher who's internally exasperated but holding it together as she speaks to the class.
Mr. Speaker, I am not going anywhere. Why the Conservatives prefer to focus on personal mudslinging and attacks rather than to actually talk about the economy. They don't want to talk about inflation because it's been down in the target range for 7 months in a row. They don't want to talk about interest rates down 3 times in a row. All they can do is insult people.
Plus, historically, there's always been a bit of a push and pull between the PMO and the Finance Department. The minister wants to do what's right fiscally, and the Prime Minister wants to do what's right politically. 'Cause, let's face it, Prime Minister of Canada, that's a pretty good gig. Comes with a plane and a motorcade.
550 emergency, flighting 175, runway 20, cleared for takeoff.
Now, Minister Freeland is tough as nails. I was proud to have her as the first female finance minister in Canadian history. She's a working mom. As a finance minister, you gotta love that. She spoke French gooder than me, and she was the author of Plutocrats, The Rise of the Super Rich and the Fall of Everyone Else, way back in 2012, long before oligarchs were a CNN green room talking point. The National Post called Plutocrats the book 100% of the 99% need to read. Damn, I wish I thought of that quote. She was so far to the left that when Freeland was originally announced as finance minister, Bay Street collectively crapped in their pants. Oh yeah, bonus point, she was one of 13 Canadians banned from traveling to Russia by Putin way back in 2014. So she's my kind of lefty radical. But she's also the Minister of Finance and the Deputy Prime Minister of our country. I'm just going to let that sink in for a minute. Well, after years of being a faithful, loyal Trudeau warrior, she gets word she's about to be shuffled. She says, "Fuck this shit, I quit," with a scalding tweet that is at turns modestly respectful towards Trudeau and also mad as hell. She resigns her cabinet post but keeps her seat in Parliament and declares that she will be running in the next election. But this is pandemonium. Don't forget, the journalists are in lockup, and they have no idea the minister who's supposed to deliver the fiscal update in the House of Commons in a few minutes just quit. They have no clue what's going on because they have no internet access. They're locked in a room. Their editors and producers can't reach them. This is freaking wild. Eventually, there's an announcement saying that there's been a delay because of, quote, a development. At this point, no one knows whether there will even be an update. Oh, Lord, Thunder and Jesus, boys, this is strategic. Journo's in the lockup and the minister quits. Oh, my God. So who's going to read the fiscal update in the House? Gosh, we seem to be fresh out of finance ministers at the moment. Oh, my faithful exceptionalists, I know what you're thinking. Matt, you can't leave us here. Who read the fiscal update in the House? I have to know. Okay. Dominic LeBlanc, Trudeau's oldest friend, and the newly minted Minister of Finance, who was also the Minister of International Trade, the Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs, the President of the Privy Council, and the member for Beausejour, New Brunswick, who's also got a side hustle of light housekeeping duties for the PMO. Freeland's resignation from cabinet is the end of Trudeau. Trump tried to claim responsibility for his exit, but you're not going to believe this. Trump lied. On January 6th, and that's January 6th Canadian, January 6th, 2025, our handsome fella resigns. He's as sad as we've seen him. He says he'll stick around until the new leader is chosen, which he does with elegance and passion as Trump amps up the 51st state tariff bonanza bullshit. There's a campaign for leader. There are 4 candidates, including Freeland. It's all very polite and boring, and I'm not going to subject you to it. Freeland doesn't attack the frontrunner, Mark Carney, too aggressively because, and this is true, Carney is Freeland's daughter's godfather. See, I told you Canada's all nice and we all know each other. It's all good. Mark Carney wins in a landslide.
In first place, the next Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney.
And after 10 years of leading our country, quite admirably, I believe, Justin Trudeau just vanished in a puff of smoke. Look, I know this Canadian human resources intrigue is taking a while. Are you guys still with me? Guys? Pi, where'd they go?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Hit the theme, I guess. This has been Yes, We Canada. Our announcer is Lisa Evans. Our sound designer is Pi Salen Cutler. The theme was written by Doug Wild and myself and performed by Manteca. You can support the show with a paid subscription by going to yeswecanada.buzzsprout.com and hit the donate button. You can cancel at any time. Your support means a lot to our independent podcast. Thanks for listening. Until next time.